Good morning, children. I hope you all might be doing well at your homes. You might be having fun at your homes. At the same time, you might be also studying well. So, have you ever thought of some people as strange or other countries as foreign? You know, it happens many times with us that we view others with narrow lenses on the basis of caste, region, religion, but that's not true and it shouldn't happen. You know, it's the same case with a well known English poet, James Kirkup. Okay, so today we are going to discuss a well known poem of James Kirkup, which is there in your Beehive book. And the name of the poem is No Men Are Foreign. Now, this poem is written by James Kirkup, who is an English poet. And this poem is all about strangeness and that no men are actually foreign. Everyone in this world, he means to say that everyone in this world is same. He wants to give us a message of universal brotherhood. So, since you can see there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, there are 5 stanzas in this poem. So, we shall discuss each stanza of this poem one by one and we shall find out the meaning of each stanza, or you can, in other words, we can say that we shall try to understand the message given by poem in each stanza. So let's begin with the very first stanza. Remember, no men are strange, no countries foreign. Beneath all uniforms, a single body breathes, like ours. The land our brothers walk upon is earth like this, in which we all shall lie. So, in the first stanza, the poet says that no men are strange or different from each other. People may belong to a different country or speak a different language, but they all are same, as we all are humans. Okay, poet wants to say that nobody is different. Why nobody is different? Because we all are same. How we all are same, children? Because we all are made of same blood and flesh. So we all are same, as we all are human. Now, poet believes in universal brotherhood. Under all uniforms, we have similar bodies which breathes. Okay, we human are all equal, whether we belong to different country or practice different culture, or we have different religion. Now, let's come to the second stanza of the poem. Before we come to second stanza of the poem, the poet we can see in the second line, like ours, the land our brothers walk upon is earth like this, in which we all shall lie. Now, here in these two lines, the poet is saying that the land on which the foreigners, okay, brothers means foreigners, foreigners walk is the same as ours. It is the same earth in which we all, live, and we all will get buried after we die. So this is the meaning of the last line. So you can just see how beautifully, the poet has just tried to build up the theme of humanity in the very first stanza of the poem. Now let's see the second stanza of the poem, children. They too, aware of sun and air and water, are fed by peaceful harvest, by war's long winter starved. Their hands are ours, and in their lines we read, a labor not different from our own. Now, in the second stanza, the poet wants to say that those people also have the same life sources just like ours. The poet brings across the idea that just like every human being, they are also nourished by the same sun, air, and water. Which means that God does not differentiate between people from different countries or different religion or different caste. Okay, the poet then the poet then goes on and add that people from all country have same period of war. Same you can see here are fed by peaceful harvest, by wars, long winter starved. Okay, in these lines the poet means to say that people from all country have same period of peace as well as period of war. We all are able to sustain our life during peacetime and live a relaxed life. Further, he adds that we starve to death during wars, and winter time is the same for the foreign countries also. Even they don't get food at that time. So this is how winter time and this war time has been compared to each other. Okay, so they have been compared to each other because children in both the situations there is scarcity of food. Now the poet says that people may have adopted to different conditions and situations, but we all are one in spirit. And then the poet says that their hands are ours, and in their lines we read a labor not different from our own. He says that just like us, they too have the same pair of hands which work hard to earn the basic needs of life. In short, the poet is again and again trying to convince us that there is no difference between the people belonging to different countries. Now, let's move to the third stanza of the poem. Remember, they have eyes like ours that wake, or sleep and strength that can be won by love. In every land is common life that all can recognize and understand. Now, in the third stanza of the poem, the poet asks us to remember that the people of another country, whom we think to be our enemies, have similar appearance like us. They have they have the same eyes like ours, and sleep and wake up in a common manner like we do. Each one of us follow the same pattern in life. The poet also says that all of us have the inner resource of strength, which can be won by love. Okay, the poet has said, oh, or sleep and strength that can be won by love. Okay, now, so it's absolutely necessary for us to love our fellow human beings without discriminating between various nations, as everyone lives the same kind of love, isn't it, children? If we understand and recognize this, then only there will be no hatred and wars between us. Aren't these lines very true and practical? What do you say? Yes, they are really very true, and they're also practical. It's true. Now, let's move to the fourth stanza, that is the second last stanza of the poem. Let us remember, whenever we are told to hate our brothers, it is ourselves that we shall dispose, betray, condemn. Remember, we who take arms against each other. Now, in the fourth stanza of the poem, the poet again reminds us that whenever we are told to hate a person from another country and even exploit others and their lands, then what happens? We only betray and condemn. What is the meaning of condemn here, children? Condemn, we can say that it means expressing complete disapproval. Okay, when we completely disapprove something of, then that is condemned. So here the poet is just saying that we only betray and condemn by waging war against each other, as such kind of exploitation only give us short time satisfaction and success. Here the poet protests against the war. Why is I feel that it's right that the poet is protesting against war, because as why is he protesting against war? Because he knows the loss caused by it. Even I totally agree with the poet on this, don't you? Yes, we all agree on this thing, because we all know that waging war against each other can never bring peace, instead of lots of suffering and destruction of humanity. Now, let's move to the very last stanza of the poem. It is the human earth that we defile. Our hells of fire and dust outrage the innocence of air that is everywhere our own. Remember, no men are foreign and no countries strange. Now, in these concluding lines of the poem, the poet shows us, okay, he just makes us aware of the negative effects of the war. He says that we are the one who makes the earth dirty. Why? How do we make earth dirty? By waging war against each other. Okay, killing each other. And in the second line of the stanza, you can see, our hells of fire and dust outrage the innocence. Here in this line, the poet has compared wartime with hell. Since why now? How has in comparison been done, children? Since there is smoke and fire all around in both cases, so this smoke and fire outrages and makes the air impure. Finally, the poet wants to give a message to adopt an easy solution to our problems. We must simply not hate each other. Instead, we must stick together and take care of our earth, as we all are humans made of same blood and flesh, although living in different countries. So this was all about the meaning, the explanation of this poem. Let's move to the poetic devices given in the poem, children. So the very first poetic device we'll mention about is rhyming scheme. So as I already told you in the previous poem, The Road Not Taken, how to find, if you are not aware of the rhyme scheme, so I told you how to find out the rhyme scheme. We need to see the very last word of each line in each stanzas. Okay, so let's see in the very first stanza of this poem, foreign breathes upon lie. So I don't think that any of these words are rhyming with each other. No, I don't find. Foreign breathes upon lie. A, B, C, D. So none of these words are rhyming. So we do not have any rhyme scheme in the first stanza. Let's move to the second stanza. Water, starved, red, own. Again, the words are not, the last words of each line is not rhyming with each other. So again, we do not have any rhyme scheme in this stanza also. And same is happening in rest of the three stanzas. So we do not have any rhyme scheme in any of the stanzas of the poem. So there is no rhyme scheme, and therefore it is in free verse. Okay, it is in free verse. The poem is in free verse. Now, after rhyme scheme, let's move to the second poetic device, that is alliteration. Now, what is alliteration, children? When the consonant sound is repeated, then that is alliteration. Okay, so let's see if any of the consonant sound is repeated. So yes, there is a consonant sound which is repeated, that is body breathes. Okay, so B, B. So B sound is repeated. So in the very first stanza of the poem, what do we observe? We observe alliteration. Okay. Now, can you find any of the more examples of alliteration in any of the stanzas? So let's move to the second stanza of if there is no example of alliteration in the first line, so let's move to the second line. War's long winter starved. War, winter. W, W. Okay, so again W's sound is repeated. So this is another example of alliteration. Now, so we have two examples of alliteration. Body breathes, B, B, W, and B and W sound is being repeated in first and second stanza. Now let's move to the next poetic device, that is metaphor. So we have already seen in the very first stanza uniform. Now uniform refers to the military of different countries. So this is perfect example of metaphor over here. Now in stanza 2, war's long winter starved. Here war time has been compared to winter season because food is not available, or we can say that there is scarcity of food during both the situations. So again, this is another example of metaphor. Now let's move to the next poetic device, that is repetition. Now children, what is repetition? When a particular word or a phrase is repeated many times, then that is an example of repetition. Now can you see the word remember? Okay, remember word has been repeated 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. So how many times this remember word has been repeated? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This remember word has been repeated 5 times. And one more thing you can see, this complete line, remember, no men are strange, no countries foreign. Again the same line has been repeated in the very last stanza of the in the very last line of the last stanza. Remember, no men are foreign and no countries strange. So these lines have been repeated twice. So this is another example of repetition. So I hope that the summary and the poetic device is clear to you children. So please read the poem very well and try to understand the underlining meaning of the poem. Thank you.